right, good afternoon again, folks. Good afternoon, and welcome to the Rush this afternoon as we continue to bring you what is happening around Georgetown. As I said, it is Wednesday, the 14th of July, 2021. And as I said, today is the 346 days of the fraudulent PPP government, 346 days of the resistance. Please remember that you can share the live stream. I'm always happy to be here in the afternoons with you folks unpacking. Today we're going to take an in-depth look at the Because We Care cash grant. We're going to be taking a close look at it and talking about it because it is another PPP distraction. And we want you to understand it is vital that we understand what this cash grant really is and how it will serve the people, how it will serve this fraudulent administration, this installed administration, and how they are using it, folks, as just another means of handouts to bribe the people and not really caring about what will truly benefit the people of Guyana. So good afternoon to you. We'll be talking about that. We'll be looking at some other issues that are in the news. But let us say good afternoon to all the people who are joining us. We, as usual on The Rush, at the beginning part, we ask you to share the live stream. As you share the live stream, let us know where you're joining us from. From whence? From whence? Folks, let us know where you're joining us from, and we will give you your shout out. Miss Keith, of course, thank you very much. Yes, we are family here, APNU AFC family. Right. GT Root Girl, thank you very much for tuning in. We're always here. We know you're always here. New Jersey is in the house. Folks, congratulations to the West Indies T20 team, men's T20 team. Of course, the women are doing great also. But congratulations to the men's team. 3 games in a row. Captained by Puran. First time he's captaining the team. 3 successive wins over Australia. Game 4 is tonight, although that series is already locked up by the West Indies. But congratulations to our West Indies team for winning that T20 series against Australia. Hopefully we can go 5-0. Thank you very much. Precious Minerals, yes, you're always here. Thank you very much. Connecticut is in the house. Precious says she shared already. Thank you very much. Share. If you're joining us on YouTube, remember to give us a subscribe. Subscribe to the channel so you will always be updated on what is happening. If you're looking at us on Facebook, we would like you to like the page. Give the page a follow or a like so you're always in the know. Remember, APNU AFC TV, we have lots of programming lined up for you throughout the week. Today is Wednesday. We have Miss Coretta McDonald coming on after with her program this afternoon. Netherlands, thank you very much for tuning in, of course. And then we have Sher Duncan in the ring at 8 p.m. It is it is Wednesday, and we have that line up for you. But folks, before we start to unpack, right, we would like to say, of course, good afternoon to all those persons. Antigua, let us know. Minnesota, right? Anybody joining us from Phoenix? Oh my, Phoenix Suns. Right. The Phoenix Suns and the Bucks are in the finals, folks. Those persons who, I always like my sport. I like to talk sport before I get to arguing about what foolishness the PvP are doing, and bringing the information to you, bringing the facts, bringing the credible and valid information, and unpacking it in a way that you can understand. New York is in the house. Thank you very much for tuning in, New York. Grenada locked in. Jennifer from Grenada, thank you very much for choosing APNU AFC TV this afternoon. Berbice, Ivan from Berbice, thank you very much for being a part of the program. Pennsylvania is Bailey. Corlette Bailey. Thank you very much for tuning in. Remember, share the live stream. Let's get to that magic number. Sandra is tuning in from Warlock. Thank you very much. Albany. Is that right? Is that correct? Passad from Albany. Thank you very much. New Jersey. Carmen, thank you very much for tuning in. Linden. It's Darlington from Linden. Thank you very much. Share the live stream, folks. as I said, we will be unpacking a few things this afternoon. And I want to, again, because, on Friday, I think on Monday, sorry, I ranted a little bit about the Because We Care cash grant. Caught me off guard. I was upset. Caught me off guard, and I was really emotional on Monday. They didn't have a show yesterday, unfortunately. We had some issues we were dealing with. St. Vincent is in the house. But today I want to take my time. Wakenham is in the house. Alexis, thank you very much for tuning in. Peter Kane from East Bank, thank you very much for tuning in. GT Regal says she's calling all AP and UFC supporters to come out in your numbers and support the protests every Wednesday. Thank you very much for reminding me about that, because I wanted that person to know that on Wednesday, starting the thing. I'll be out there. I will be out there. The Square the Revolution come next Wednesday, because, as you know, the saying is enough is enough. So we'll definitely be doing that on Wednesday. Those persons who want to be a part of that, let your voices be heard out there. Come out on Wednesday at 12, and we'll be starting our picketing exercises. Barbados in the house, the UK, Anguilla, folks all around the world, East Bank, share the live stream. As I said, folks, I was a little emotional on Monday when I spoke about this Because We Care thing. As I said, from the standpoint of a parent and a teacher, it really struck me as senseless, visionless, and a waste of $3.2 billion by this fraudulently installed regime. Right? Kind of saying that we should ask our supporters to accept the cash grant. Nobody is saying not to take the cash grant. And let me be clear. I've never said not to take the cash grant. I am lamenting the fact that this government, this fraudulently installed government, could have found a more meaningful way to use it. But they have decided that they will give people $15,000 and $4,000 uniform vouchers. That is what they have decided. And I will encourage everybody, go take the $15,000. As inadequate as it is, go take it. Maybe you can buy some ration and thing for that week. At least you get something. You go into the supermarket with the $15,000 and buy some stuff. If you have to, buy a little cheap smartphone so your child could access the internet. Because I don't know how you pay for the internet. Because the government really don't care about that. Right? Because even if you pay for the internet, it'll pay for it for 1 month. And you get some change left back. If you don't have internet, it's not like you can take that $15,000 and go and put in internet service, because that installation fee and all those things are going to cost you more than $15,000. So the best I can say, if you are a parent struggling to let your child access the internet and access education, take the $15,000, take the $30,000, the $45,000 if you have more than one child in school, and invest it in some sort of device. That is my advice to you. Invest the money in some sort of device. Right? Please. Invest in your children. This is what we have to ask. We have to beg that the parents invest in the children. Because the ministry, in their infinite wisdom, they would have decided that, look, we will just give you all $15,000 cash and $4,000 uniform voucher, and hopefully that's going to solve the problem. You have now, I'm appealing to parents. Take that 15, 30, 45, 60,000, how much it'll come up to, and invest it in your children's education. Buy a tablet. Go see if you find a $20,000 tablet, a $15,000 tablet that your children can receive the information, and they can access education. Max Rav is saying that at least the government is still assisting. No, but the government is supposed to assist. But the government is supposed to be smart and have wisdom also. The government is supposed to act in the interest of the people. Nobody is saying that the $15,000 wouldn't do something. But you and I both know that this will be riddling with corruption. The government is supposed to make the best decision that will aid the people. And taking $15,000 and giving every child $15,000 cash, hopefully the parents take it and invest in the children. But there are many programs that could have been invested in to provide internet in certain communities. The Ministry of Education could have started. Let me just say this before I go. I ain't even talking my opening take. But this issue is such a touchy one. The ministry could have started by saying to each school, give me a list. Give me a list of all of the students that have not logged in to class for the year. And the schools, the primary schools and the secondary schools around the country would have sent in all of those names. These are the children who have not logged in for some reason, right? These are the children who have not logged in for some reason. And so through that, the ministry could have now said, look, maybe these children have some sort of problem. Why they can't access the education. And let's start with those children first. Investigate how is it that you can get the poorest of children accessing education. Again, uniform vouchers are good. Uniform vouchers are good if you're going to be opening schools. That's a whole other issue, whether or not schools should be reopened. Right? But there's nothing wrong. People go take the $15,000, take the $30,000 and invest it in your children. But let's go on to why I believe that the government has chosen this route. I believe that they have chosen this route because they know that consumer spending will increase. This $15,000, $30,000 or $45,000 parents will collect based on how many children you have in school. That money will go straight back to the private sector. And that is what they want. They don't want to invest in a program, take that $3.2 billion and provide internet in certain communities, buy tablets. We have a relationship with Huawei, forged through our relationship with the Chinese under the APNU AFC and the Ministry of Public Telecommunications. That relationship is still there. We could have gone and we could have gotten those tablets, given them to the poorest of children. We could have provided internet in their community. But folks, the money got to go back to them. The money got to spend at the stores that their friends own. Right? Folks, let's get into our opening take this afternoon. Let's get into our opening take because I don't want to leave. I want to bring the opinion of Mr. Aubrey Norton in our opening take this afternoon. Let's take it. Our opening take this afternoon, folks, is of course talking about this cash grant to children in public schools. Mr. Aubrey C. Norton says cash grant to school children or children in public schools is inadequate. It is a joke and it's not a PPP corruption scheme. He says it must be the joke of the century for the installed Minister of Education to be advocating for $19,000, $15,000 cash and $4,000 uniform voucher. So essentially, you're giving them $15,000 cash payout for each child in public school. Since this program is ill-conceived and will not improve the lives of children, parents and teachers or increase their access to education, it is inadequate at the cheapest of by the cheapest of calculations. It is laughable because this payout can't achieve the two critical objectives of improving students, the children, the parents, and the teachers' lives, and increasing children's access to education. At the wider level, this cash payout fits into the PPP scheme of bribe our people into and creating dependence rather than increasing people's capacity to earn and to live decent and fulfilling lives. The PPP uses the state resources to create dependency so that they can dominate and control the lives of the people of Guyana. This approach must be condemned and resisted. With the critical issue facing parents and their children at this time of COVID-19, this program cannot help them to surmount their problems. It would only satisfy the PPP's modus operandi of corruption. And it will not satisfy the needs of the people, the basic needs of the people. $15,000 cannot cushion the ills, cannot cushion the ill effects that the parents face when losing their jobs or being fired by this PPP government during COVID-19. It cannot cushion the adverse effect of more than 50% increase in cost of living. And there's been no wage or salary increases after 2 successive budgets by this fraudulently installed PPP government. Our people's real income would have declined, making life very difficult. It cannot be helped. It cannot, begin to help the children to access education and internet since data is quite costly. In addition, many areas were given free government internet under the APNU AFC, and these have been cut or restricted due to on political grounds. Many communities are without internet and are purchasing power to access the internet. Clearly, the aim is not to make education accessible to the people and make the people's lives better. It is another scheme by the PPP to provide income through corruption to the PPP elites, their family, their friends, and selected groups of PPP members and supporters. What Guyana needs are well thought out programs that will aim to improve the lives of our children, our parents, and our teachers, and to improve the students and the teachers' access to online and other forms of teaching and learning. This new cash grant cannot achieve those 2 objectives. This ridiculous $15,000 cash grant is a joke, a real joke. It is another attempt, to bribe the people without addressing the problems that affect them. $15,000 cannot achieve this, cannot achieve any of the above objectives. And it will become another means of PPP corruption and discrimination, like the so-called COVID-19 Relief PPP Corruption Fund. And this is from Miss Aubrey C. Norton, Mr. Aubrey C. Norton, 14th of July. Folks, it is quite true what he said. Quite true. I want to know, folks, your thoughts, because we can talk here, I can share my opinions, I can share my views on this show, but I want to know what you think. I want to know what you think. And we're picking up on some other articles that are dealing with this cash payout. And let me see if I can share that for you. The GTU advises teachers not to handle the COVID-19 because we care cash money. Not to handle it. I think the GTU is correct to advise their teachers not to handle it, because this is going to have some real problems attached to it. Imagine the PPP had an opportunity to go to every single household and give them $25,000, and they failed disastrously in getting that done. Riddled with corruptions. You hear stories every day of 5 or 6 persons in the house. Everybody getting 25. The next household, nobody ain't get nothing. Nobody. So the GTU has advised that teachers do not handle the because we care money. Don't get yourself mixed up in this PBP corruption. Don't get yourself mixed up in the PBP nastiness because your name gonna call. The education cash grant, leave it to the ministry officials to do it. Again, we're not advising people not to take it. Take the money. Take the money. Right? Take it. Spend it on your children. That is what we can advise you to do. Spend it on your children. Let's go through this article and see what it says. The Ghana Teachers Union has advised that its teachers and school administrators to refrain from handling government cash grants to public school students. The below statements from the GTU, the Ministry of Education, has announced publicly the cash grant will be rolled out shortly. However, apart from information circulating in social media, the GTU is not aware of the logistics surrounding the actual disbursement or distribution of this cash grant. Therefore, it is taking with our mandate to look after the welfare of our members. The GTU wishes to advise the following: school administrators and staff are to refrain from handling or taking responsibility for money. Lend support where it is needed to verify authenticity of student or authentic students from your school when called upon. Do not store cash relating to the cash grant. Refrain from large gathering, especially since COVID-19 cases and deaths are still being recorded in Guyana every day. Right? Keeping in. Seek the invitation of the union should you receive threats from any source. This is coming from the GTU. Folks, what are your thoughts? Let me know what are your thoughts. We are going to be going into... Right. Well, let me deal with this here because you know it's an interesting dynamic that we're going through in our country. It's a time we're going through in our country. I feel as if the PPP has great incentives, and I will say this without fear of successful contradiction. Now, the PPP has great incentives to keep Guyanese people impoverished. This give them a fish mentality. Instead of teaching them how to fish, is what they strive on. The major problem in our country at this point in time as it relates to education is access. You don't need to be the education minister to know that. You don't need to be a political scientist to know that. You don't need to be a university graduate to know that. COVID-19 got people home. Children are home. Many children don't have access to education. They don't have a device. They don't have internet. That is the number one problem. That is the number one problem facing the education sector at this moment. What do? They decide to give out $15,000. They decide to give out $3.2 billion in cash grant. Now ask yourself, how does that improve the situation in the poorest communities where dozens, hundreds, thousands of children can't go to school and don't have access to internet? Right? Because the reality is, folks, as I unpack this today, you know what? The reality is that the rich and the people in the middle class don't care about that $15,000. The rich children don't have to worry about devices or internet. They got internet. They got data. They got big computers in the house. They got tablet. They got phone. They got everything. And they are able to access their education from home. While they're sitting there, somebody come and prepare some food and they give them right next to the computer and they eat. Somebody takes the wares away and they have life in London. Even those in the middle class who are not necessarily rich, but they can afford internet. They can afford multiple devices in their homes. Those persons don't care about the $15,000. It is the poorest among us who really need the help. It is the poorest among us who don't have internet. It is the poorest among us who don't have devices for their children. And I say this to you, it is incumbent on the government. It is imperative that the government of the day seek to help those people. And I'm saying to you today that giving them $15,000 for a child, instead of investing in infrastructure and devices so that they can access education, which one you really think makes sense? If you are Priya Malik Chan, I would feel sorry for you, but I want you to know, if you are Priya Malik Chan, what do you think would make more sense at this time? Not deal with the major problem that is facing the education sector? Sorry if I had to put you in the position to ask you if you were Priya Malik Chan. Not a good position to be in. Preposition Priya, don't let me start. But if you were the Minister of Education, you would have been thinking about how to solve that major problem. You know, it was Lula da Silva, former president of Brazil, that said the key to being an elected official is fixing the obvious. Let me say that again. The key to being an elected official is fixing the obvious. The problem in the education sector is right in Priya's face. It's very obvious. People can't access education. And to think that this $3.2 billion could have gone such a far way in developing that infrastructure for ease of access, not only for students, but for teachers. To think that that money could have gone to that. Take $4,000, give it a uniform. Right? Take $15,000 and give it to the parents. Basically, parents, I beg you. I beg of you. Invest that money in this in ensuring your child has access to education, because we don't know if the schools will be open in September. That's what we're telling you. We don't know. The ministry can hem and haw how much they want about reopening school. The reality is that COVID-19 just 500 deaths. That's where we are, folks. But this afternoon, I want to hear you. I've had my say. Right? I've had my say. Handouts for school cash grant commences. This was at a particular school. We're looking at some other things. Anyway, folks, let's hear what you're saying this afternoon. Let's hear from you. Let's hear from you this afternoon. I want to know what you're thinking. What are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in this segment. Right, folks. It is time to have your say. 618-7321, 618-7321. Have your say this afternoon. Have your say. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Have your say this afternoon, folks. We want to know what you are thinking. Of course, we're talking about this cash grant. We're talking about this. So we're going to put it up on the screen so you know what we're talking about this afternoon. You know what we are talking about this afternoon. We're talking about the cash grant, folks. What are your thoughts? Do you believe that this is the wisest way to spend $3.2 billion? If so, let us know why you believe so. If you think it is, let us know when we answer the call. I need to turn down. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to The Rush. Have your say.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I was listening to you and I heard you said that the ministry should go to the schools and find out the children who didn't access any. But I must say I'm a teacher. And every month we a list of names of the students who did not attend any class for that month or for the term or for the entire year. We've been sending that every single month to them. And nothing has been happening. So they are aware of the children who haven't attended any school for the school year. They are aware of that.
Okay.
Added to that, like for the ones who have to move from third form to fourth form, those ones who didn't attend any school.
Yeah.
We have a problem because how are we going to promote them? Since they didn't attend any school or have any record of any work.
Right. And
so
that's a problem.
I don't know what the ministry is saying or doing with regard to that, because you can't promote them if you have no record of them attending school. So they're not addressing that either.
Yeah.
So a little much of things the ministry is not addressing.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
So they are aware of the amount of children who have, they are aware of that.
Well, look at that. You see, thank you very much for reminding me of that. Thank you very much, caller. The schools have been sending to the ministry on a monthly basis those children who have not been attending classes. So they know. The Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Education knows the exact numbers. And these are the children that we should be targeting and helping. They know those numbers. Thank you very much. And the teacher there who called just now highlighted the fact that, look, there are students who did not attend classes. When school reopens normally, what is your plan to deal with them? The ministry has not articulated a plan to the Guyanese people as to how they are dealing with those children who were not able to attend classes for lack of a device or internet. They have not articulated a plan yet. So that's another big issue. And thank you very much to that teacher who called in just now. Folks, give us a call. Give us a call. Let me ensure that my ringer is down. Right. Give us a call. Let us know what you're thinking, because that is going to be a problem. I think I have another call coming in. Caller, good afternoon. Hello. 1 second. Hold on. Good afternoon. Welcome to The Rush. Have your say.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you loud and clear.
All right, go on. Let me just get this on and give you the. Good afternoon. I just wanted to yeah, let me just turn off this.
Yes, you can turn your
video is making a lot of noise. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. Go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon. I really like the fact that you pointed out that, you're not discouraging people from taking the cash grant. It's being given, so take it.
Yeah.
The main issue is not about whether or not you should take the money. The main issue is that it was a premature decision. First of all, we are not certain if school will be reopened in person in September. But put that aside, the main issue right now is the fact that we have so many students who have not been attending classes because, as you said earlier, due to access.
Yeah.
Right? I am a teacher. In a class that I expected 70 students, you don't get more than 8 or 9.
Wow.
You don't get more than 8 or 9. And then at the end of the term, you have to still be submitting grades and so on for students. And the thing is now, let's say you have a class of 20 students, you're a form teacher.
Yeah.
Some of the students don't have grades for any of the subjects, but you still got to calculate it. So you have students ending up with 0.5% out of 100, 1% if they were able to go to at least one class and get some assessments completed. All these things we're dealing with. So when you're going to throw this $19,000, most persons that can't even pay rent.
Yeah,
that can probably buy some data plan, but how long will that last? Right? It was a premature decision.
And let me say this, as you know, this is the second teacher that would have called in, and you're highlighting the main problem. As I said, the major problem facing education is access right now. And as a teacher, you know that many students have not attended classes, and you would think that if the Ministry of Education had $3.2 billion to spend, they would fix the obvious problem. What should
have happened? What should have happened rather than this dictatorship leading or ruling? They should have communicated with the persons who are on the ground. There was a few months I didn't even have access to a phone.
Yeah.
So I had to be using a third party so I can be able to teach my classes. Why not communicate with the teachers and so on to find out what should have been done? Right? I mean, they flaunt this $3.billion, and it sounds like a lot, but when you really break it down, it's not going anything much.
Yeah.
And then parents have other expenses. As much as they know that education is important, a lot of these parents will use this money on food and so on because that is important too.
Right? Remember
so
when the
the
pandemic
may not even receive the money. And we know this has been happening over the years. Every time you have these vouchers and so on. But times are different now. And I really feel saddened to think that this thing really has become political because they've been advertising this thing so proudly. We're giving this amount of money. But when you really think about it, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
It is a waste of money. You should have sat down and decided the best course of use for this money.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that. All they want is a flamboyant show.
Thank you, Miss, for that. I'm happy that teachers are calling in and having their say. Thank you very much for your contribution this afternoon.
Yes, thank you.
Right. Another teacher there contributing to the program, and she mentioned something very interesting, that parents will use this money to buy food because we're in a pandemic. Many of them don't have work. Many of them were laid off. Food prices sky high. So again, I am saying to you, if you have a child, go collect the money. That doesn't mean that I shouldn't make noise about how foolishly the money was spent. Take the money. I would encourage you to invest in your children. But who am I to tell a parent who look in your cupboard and can't find food to not go collect that $15,000 or $30,000, depending on how many children she got, and buy some food so that they can eat? Who am I to tell them go invest in a tablet when the children sit down hungry? Another call is here. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to the Rush. Have your say.
Good afternoon, right?
Good afternoon.
Here's the thing. I see why teachers commenting about this money. Good. $1 better than $1 million.
I'm happy that you say that. I'm happy that you say that. And let me just say this, stay on the line, because I want to have a conversation with you. I like people to share other views. A dollar is better than nothing. We understand that. And teachers, and you heard what the lady said just now, go collect the money. People need it right now. But do you know that teachers are in school, and as a teacher, you feel it when you see a half of your class can't log in. You're thinking, how are these children really going to make out? It's been a year now and they haven't accessed education. What we are saying is that is a major problem facing the Ministry of Education. And they could have taken that money and invested in ensuring those poorest of children have some access. Don't you think that is a reasonable suggestion?
Yeah, but hear what I'm saying. Our president and Ms. Priya Manichan did something to the children, but Granger did nothing. Even give.
All right, but you see, you're on another point. You're on another point, and then you're misinformed, right? Because it was Granger who provided buses, and I hope the caller is still listening because she's so misinformed. It was Granger who got buses. It was Granger who got bicycles. It was Granger who got boats for those children in the interior. It was Granger who provided breakfast. It was Granger who provided boots. It was Granger who provided backpacks. All the B's. And those are things that are impactful, because if I give you $15,000 and your parents spend it out, the children still got to, by the next 2 months, the children still got to jump on a bus and pay money to go to school. So you need to inform yourself before you come and speak on things that you don't know. Caller, good afternoon. Hold on, 1 second. 1 second. 1 second, hold on. Hold on. 1 second. Javier, say good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm a teacher. I don't think the money was truly a waste of time per se, because the Minister of Education herself said she know that parents will use the money for other things. Of course, we're in a pandemic.
Yes.
What I don't understand is that why not use, or why not go for more money in terms of putting internet access to the communities? No, I'm saying that no, they went to the hinterland regions and they give students preloaded tablets. Mm-hmm. Why not do that for every region? Because there are children in region 4 who do not have internet access.
Yep.
Why not spend the money on tablets to all the children?
Yep.
The former president had that idea to give 1 tablet per child, but unfortunately he was cheated out a second term. So, but I'm saying she could have done something else, because look, teachers, not all the time teachers have money to put in their phone for plans. They could have made an arrangement with GT&T Digital in order to give teachers, give students a package.
Right. And that's what we're saying. People are copying, people. I am not saying that the money is it. For me, it could have been spent in a more meaningful way. We know what parents will do with the money. And so you're begging them to invest it in their children, but you know that will not happen in all the cases.
No, well, of course, the Minister of Education admitted that. She admitted that yesterday during or was it yesterday or day before yesterday, she did her press conference. She said she knows parents will use it, which eventually will trickle down to the benefit of the children.
What?
Which there should not be. It should be the priority. The children should be priority. She said she knows people will buy food and the children will benefit.
Buying food can help the children for a week or 2.
That's what she said. She knows. But I'm thinking that there is money, where they can get money. Why not do these things? You're interested in learning this. The criteria is, or the goal is for the children to have equal access to education.
Yep.
So, while the money may help some parents to an extent, it will help, but then we'll miss the total.
In 2 weeks' time, the money gets finished. The children still wouldn't have access to education.
Exactly.
And the only people that will be smiling are those persons who the store owners, where they can see increased traffic because people can come and spend the money.
Exactly. And the ministers themselves will be smiling because while they're sharing this amount, we know that they get anyhow. That's another thing.
Yeah. All right.
So, but
thank you.
Have a good afternoon.
Thank you for your contribution.
I love it.
Caller, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I called earlier, but I really feel the need to respond to one of the callers before me, where she was making the comment that, when Granger was in power, he didn't do anything. And you rightly mentioned that she is misinformed. So I wanted to publicly respond to her as it relates to what she said.
You go ahead.
What she said is very comical because two things. First of all, she is misinformed. There was so much that was done, not only for students, for teachers as well over the years. And we're just talking about the education system there, right? But let's put that aside. We have so many people who refuse to accept that an issue is incorrect because they don't want to be wrong. They don't want the persons they follow to be wrong. So they will stifle their conscience and hold on to straws, hoping that something will stick. Right now, it's not about PPP, and it's not even about APNU AFC. It is about the students, and it is about the money, the public service, the money that is coming from our pocket that is being spent, and how it is being spent. If you're going to spend your money, it must make sense, especially that amount of money. It is a waste. It is a waste of money. So right now, a lot of persons, just like that caller a few minutes ago, a lot of persons are in opposition to persons like us who stand firm with the idea that this is ridiculous. Right? They're in opposition to us, not because they took time to understand what we are saying, but because we are going against their the persons they support. We have so many people that have that veil over their eyes, and it is ridiculous. If you would allow me to use an analogy or so,
go ahead.
You may have a friend, and you might be telling this friend about something, some situation. You have two types of friends. You have that friend that would know you're wrong, but support you just because you're their friend. And then you have those friends who will tell you, you know something, you were wrong. Even though we're friends, I will tell you we're wrong, because that is what a true friend should be. Here, we have this government that came up with this all because we care idea. And some persons are so blinded with their belief in this regime that they refuse to see anything. If they walk along the road and they shoot somebody, they will turn and say, okay, well, APNU AFC didn't know how to shoot that well. So, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous to walk on the road and you stump people today. They're going to turn and say, well, you see, if you're supporting PPP, you wouldn't have stumped people. Ridiculous. Stop moving the issue away from what we're talking about. The money was not well spent. That is the issue. It has nothing to do with what PPP was. Nothing.
And I wouldn't even, thank you very much, Carla, for that. I'm happy that you brought that point up again. I wouldn't even bother to get into a debate with in terms of achievements, because it was the PPP who initiated this No Child Left Behind policy, automatic promotion that was so disastrous. It was the PPP that did all this, and we can get into the back and forth. The issue is that the money was not well spent. It could have been better spent. And that is the meat of the issue. Yes, we know $1 is better than none. And to say $1 is better than none is like a misnomer, because the reality is that the APNU AFC government invested heavily every year in education, but tangible things, not $15,000 handout, but investing in ensuring the children get to school, investing in ensuring the children get a meal when they go to school, ensuring that they got the shoes when they reach the school. Ensuring they got backpacks to reach the school, books, bicycles. That is what they invested in. Things that are going to be meaningful, not give you a fish, but teach you how to fish. And this handout mentality that the PPP has is what will keep our people, like that caller, oppressed. And if you want to go further, what has the PPP given the public servants? What? Zero increase. Zero increase. 2 budgets passed. We're waiting to see. The APNU, on the other hand, increased the public service, the minimum wage by 77% in 5 years. So don't come around with funny with stupidness. We're speaking about things here. We're debating matters on meaningful things. Because in 2 weeks, everybody $15,000 gonna finish a week, a day. Let's go to the supermarket and buy 2 greens. Don't let me talk about the cost of living that the PPP promised to bring down. Don't let me start talk. So don't come on the show and call and tell we stupidness. Let's have a proper conversation. Let's understand that this money could have been better spent. Rowenda Williams, I like your comment. And this is a point that I want to note, as we still encourage you to call 618-7321 and have your say this afternoon. We have a few more minutes to go on the program. But she said, Ms. Williams said that there are some teachers who send work to children on their parents' phone on WhatsApp. I know this for sure. I know this for sure because this is how they have to get it done. Right? A whole lot of pages. Not all the parents can afford to print these work. No interaction, no communication, no Zoom meeting. The parents have to print the work, teach the children, then return to the teacher. This is the situation. These are the horror stories that I am almost certain that Priya knows about. But because it is a publicity stunt, and because persons like that caller will be lured into believing that this is the greatest thing, giving everybody $15,000 and not understanding that this is not really helping me, and that money could have been used to help my child in a better way. No, but we like the poor people mentality. We like it. Handout mentality. Go and stretch your hand and collect $15,000. 2 weeks from now, we're done. Invest in some internet and some devices so your children could learn and they could have a better life. What about that? Right? What about that? Folks, you have an opportunity now to have your say. 618-7321 as we conclude today on this deep dive into this because we care. And you see, it's a whole marketing PR gimmick. Big posters, because we care, we give you $15,000. If you care, you want to ensure that the poor children that can access education get it. And not hope that the parents, the money can trickle down. Stripping a sprayer telling people trickle down. We have another caller. Caller, good afternoon. Have you see?
Hi, good afternoon. Yes, the caller that came on before the last one and talk about the dollar and what's not and what's not, the ignorant one. Now, I have a father thinks this man is a very educated man, very educated, and think exactly like how that woman thinking. They're all about party and race and nothing else. No development. They don't have the mentality of development. All they concern is that their party is in power and their race is in power. That's all they concern. They don't concern if they eat dog mess. They just don't concern. This is how these people mentality is. My dad is a very educated person, but it's sad to see his mentality out shallow when it comes to development. Yeah. That's my saying.
Yeah. Thank you very much for your contribution, caller. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Right. But again, people, we have to get away from that. We have to learn to discuss issues. If we are highlighting to you, it is not rocket science. You don't need to be a political scientist to understand that what is the major problem in education? Every teacher will tell you. The average man in the street can tell you, by plenty of them children in my community don't even log into no internet class. They know when last they went to school. And you think that giving them $15,000 is going to change that? Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to the Rush. Have you say? Our caller wasn't ready. We have a few more minutes, folks. We're going to go over to Ms. Coretta McDonald's program in just a few minutes. So stay tuned for that. And then, of course, Sherrod Duncan. Right? Advancing the Cause with Coretta McDonald is coming up in a few minutes. And then, of course, we'll have In the Ring with Sherrod Duncan at 8. We know you guys log in for that. We know you like the action, the late night action with that. But we have to talk. We have to unpack some of these issues in early afternoon on the Rush. Let's see if we can take one more caller. Caller, good afternoon. Have your say.
Yeah, good evening. Good afternoon, my brother. I like to say good afternoon to the whole PPP. I big up yourself.
All right, buddy. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much for that caller. Yes, big up to the PPP. Big up to them. All right. May they continue to do foolishness so they'll be out of power soon. Let's continue, folks. 618-7321. 618-7321. I'll go a few more minutes. This is the overtime. As you know, we do it. This is extra. The Rush extra right now. We're giving you a few more minutes to have your say on the program. I enjoyed the discussion, folks. I enjoyed the discussion thoroughly. Right? So do continue to share your opinion. Remember, this is an opinion show, you know. We're not afraid of opinions here. We want to hear what you think. If you feel that the PPP right, that's up to you. Right? That is up to you if you feel that the right. Right? If you feel that they are correct, please ensure you say so. Nothing's wrong. But you have to defend your opinion. You can't just come and bring your opinion and run away. You have to defend it. Hold on, caller. 1 second. I have somebody else on the line. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to the Rush. Have you say?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm calling. Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
I'm calling concerning the tablet and the education sector.
Mm-hmm.
In Barbados,
yeah,
government provides tablets for every child that cannot afford a tablet.
Yeah.
And right now, school closed. You call back the tablet. So when school open back, the child will get back the tablet.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what the government doing again.
They're into publicity stunts, my brother. They're into publicity stunts. Right?
Look wrong at the neighbors, you see how the neighbors doing it.
Yeah.
And every child you're logging out every day in Barbados.
Yeah. They're into publicity stunts. And remember, they're in bed with the private sector, so they know that this money will go back to the private sector. It's not very hard to figure out what they're doing. Right?
God, the child won't get nothing won't do for that child. The children them. God, the parents of the world feel like for that money.
Exactly.
And them know that.
Exactly.
Them just hope sanity that thing that
all right.
Yeah, we give out money. Thank you very much.
All right, Michael. Thank you for your contribution. Caller, good afternoon. Shucks. We have a few persons calling there just now. We want to say thank you. Continue calling until you get through. I will allow you to take. I will take your calls this afternoon. Right. We will take your calls. So the Private Sector Commission wrote the president asking for a meeting because they have a problem with what the people name again? Sleeping. Big meeting. Not getting this on my phone. President and the vice president engage in the private sector now. Y'all engage them. Folks, two persons were trying to call. Give me a call now if you're still interested in sharing your opinion. We're staying on a little while just so that you can share your views this afternoon. Cash grant. 3.2 billion, $15,000 a child, $4,000 voucher. We're on the big market right now. This is how they're selling. Right? They're selling. At the same time, they stop print hand out worksheets for primary school. They say they get money for worksheets. Parents got to try and print it. This government for real? So no worksheets. Teachers using their phones. Pray say, yes, man. We know that the money not going to reach the children, but we hoping that they can trickle down and help them. Trickle and go into the private sector hands. That's where we can go. 618-7321. A few more minutes. We'll stay on about 5 more minutes. That call is now coming back. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to the Rush. Have your say.
Hi, Randy. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It's a very interesting thing. A drunken man protester strong. What the Minister of Education is doing, or the PPP by extension, is giving the money to hush persons' idea or views of the real situation, the real crisis, and turn you out from that. So they're using cheap, they would want to call it strategy. So cause people to be excited and divert from the real situation of the many turbulences that is facing Guyana.
Yeah.
So I'd advise persons, yes, collect the money, but just keep focused on what is up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Again, let me say, go collect the money. Go collect the money. This money, your money is taxpayers' money. Right? You're entitled to it. If the government give it out, you take it. But it's my opinion that it could have been better spent. That don't mean you shouldn't go collect it. Go collect it. By all means. And I hope that you invest it in your children. Right? But I don't think that it was well spent. If you have to beg parents to invest it in the children, then it's not well spent. If Priya could sit down and say, well, we know that it's not going to reach the back, not going to reach the children, but it might trickle down to help them, then it's not well spent. Direct policies, direct programs that will impact the lives of children. What are you doing with those thousands of children that had no grade for the whole year? That's what I want to know. Articulate a solution to that, Priya. Let us know. You are the Minister of Education. What are the teachers to do with those thousands of children across the country that have no grade? You putting them over into the next class? You leaving them back? Because it might not be their fault. It might be your fault that they couldn't access education because you're responsible. And I want to point this out. That the UN Convention states that every child has the right to education. It means, therefore, that the government has the responsibility to ensure that each child can access education. If the government isn't doing what they're supposed to do to ensure that child access education, then it's not that child's fault that they don't have any mark for that year. It's not a child's fault, and we'll discuss this after this call. Caller?
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I calling concerning the students putting over to the next grade.
Yeah, how do you feel about that?
As a teacher, they were put over to the Form 5 level.
Interesting.
With 48% and less.
Okay.
So they're setting up this year to go to CXE to fail.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's my question.
All right, thank you for that. And I'm happy that you added that at this point in time, because I'm talking about the fact that the government has a responsibility. People don't understand that the government is responsible. I don't care the circumstance. You have to figure out how each child can access education. And if that child is living in a community and that child is too poor to have internet or too poor to have a device, it is the government's responsibility to fill that gap and provide that internet or provide that device, because the child has a right. And if the child in a 10th class for a year because of that poverty, that is not the child's fault. That is not the child's fault. You know whose fault it is? The Ministry of Education's fault. Because when you took over, the PBP took over this country in the heart of COVID, there was a whole ministry dedicated to public telecommunication and expanding free access to the internet. It was the Ministry of Public Telecommunications, if you remember that. This is another one for that caller that called earlier. But what the AP and UFC did. Over 150 internet hubs. That's what they did. That's what Granger did. Thousands of tablets distributed. All regions. That's what they did. Folks, 5 more minutes to go. 5 more give it to go. Right? Thank you very much for tuning in. Folks, you can still share the live stream, you know. You can still share the live stream. Right? Let us know what you're thinking. Share the live stream. Share the live stream. We will be here for 5 more minutes. Sorry. If you want to call in, give us a call now. 618-7321. Thank you very much for being a part this afternoon, folks. 618-7321. If you have any more final thoughts before we wrap up this afternoon. It was interesting, folks. I really enjoyed the discussion this afternoon. Because you're really in a serious position, you know. Right? One person is saying that they're using a band-aid to cover a gunshot wound with this COVID, this cash grant. Quite an interesting, right? Okay. All right. So let's go, folks. Let's go. Thank you very much. Let's tune into Miss Coretta McDonald right now, advancing the cause. Thank you very much for being a part of the program this afternoon, for contributing. Let's go over to her program. Do enjoy the rest of your evening. Let's continue to work together for national development, folks. Let's not forget that. Let's continue to work for national development. My name is Randolph Critchlow. Let me sign out today and remind you that today is 346 days of the resistance. Let's hold the line of battle, folks. Let's continue to call these fraudulent installed people out. All right. Thank you very much for your contribution this afternoon.